I just finished watching Beast Game Season 2, and I want to talk about it. In case you guys aren't familiar, Mr. Beast has his own TV show with Amazon Prime. And he started Season 1, it came out last year, and Season 2 literally just concluded last night. And so I'm going to be diving into spoilers about the top 10 contestants, some of the challenges that they faced, what I liked and didn't like, and then what I thought about the last episode altogether. I'm your host, Seb, and if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and comment down below what your favorite challenge was of the season, and let's go ahead and dive into this. And so the theme of this season was actually Strong versus Smart, and instead of the previous 2,000 contestants in it, he only had 200 of them, with 100 of the contestants moving to Beast City. And so right away we got to know the characters a lot better than what we did at Beast Game Season 2, because when they moved into the city, I believe it was the top 500 of them. 100 is a lot smaller than that. And I'm unaware if they decided to use the same location for the second Beast City, but it looked pretty similar to what the first one did. I'm going to go ahead and dive into the spoilers already, and I'm going to go starting off with the top 10 of the people. So in case you guys haven't watched the season yet or don't want me to tell you, then go ahead and watch it. But to name the top 10 people off, here we go. So the top 10 included Nick, August, Monica, Jim, Jack, Corey, Brett, Katie, Hannah, and Tyler. And so all of those people deserve to be in the top 10. And I will say that a handful of them I didn't really agree with how they got there, because they were deceitful and they lied about stuff, and I didn't agree with their character choices to get to that point. But for 4 or 5 of them, I really thought that, there's a good chance that they win it all, and I'd be pretty happy to see them do it. The first two to come into my mind are going to be Nick and August, just because I didn't really appreciate the Cube episode where they teamed up on Vance and convinced them into doing a vote off to get rid of him, because they knew that everybody else didn't like Vance very much. And so they tried to peer pressure him into doing the vote. That way he would lose it, and that was the game that they played to, like, whoever loses it will have to strap themselves to the cube and eliminate themselves. And so I wasn't a huge fan of that. And then I wasn't a fan of Jack or Monica's entrance into the top 10, just because Jack ended up eliminating a previous contestant, Susie, in the box game. And in it, they were to play a card game where they just draw a card, and then whoever has the lowest card ends up losing. And he ended up swapping out the decks in favor of him and the other person in his box, Tyler, to pull high cards and make Susie pull out the low card. And so he lied to her, and she ended up self-eliminating because she thought that she lost the game, but it was never fair. And then Monica ended up doing the same thing, where in a previous episode, it was if she won, she ended up being a captain and got to determine with somebody else 3 people that they would eliminate. And she ended up lying to the other person that she ended up beating in one of the games, and then eliminated her and eliminated her friend. And so I thought that that was kind of deceitful. And I mean, at least she was honest about it, because even during when they were playing the game, she was up on the skyscraper saying, like, oh, I'm lying to her, like, I'm actually going to eliminate her if I get the chance. I'm not going to keep her safe. And so that kind of sucked to see. And then the last thing that I do want to say is the only thing I didn't like about Brett is the fact when the money game came around, when they had to do the $1 million in the top 10 and they split it however they want to split it, he ended up taking a lot more than his fair share. And while a lot of people are giving him slack online for doing that, and in the game they gave him a lot of slack too, I kind of understand it, just because Nick was the first one who took 250,000, and then he ended up getting like the 4th one up there, and he already saw that the numbers were skewed, so he just went and took what he needed, or what he wanted, I guess. And the rest of the contestants weren't very happy about it, and to me, I was like, damn. And even his friend Corey, who was there, he was like, dude, like, you went before me and I trusted you the most, and you just went ahead and like ruined all this shit. And so that left a little bit of a stain on Brett. I don't think it was too harmful, because that's the only thing that he did that I thought was like a little questionable. The rest of the characters that I didn't name, I thought all played pretty well games. I mean, none of them had to lie or be deceitful in order to get to the top 10. And then even once they were in the top 10, I felt like most of these characters stayed true to their word and ended up playing fair games. So shout out to them. And of course, this is all coming from a place of me being here as a spectator, because I know that once you're in that environment, it's a little bit different. Like, somebody once told me that morals is kind of like a privilege, because you never know what you would do until you're in that situation. And so it's really hard to sit here and judge all of these people when, who knows, maybe I would have been the one to go first and just take the whole $1 million right off the bat, So now I want to move on to what I did enjoy about the season. And the first thing was that they had more challenges. The thing that people talked the most about in Beast Game Season 1 is that they felt that there was a lot of self-elimination that had to happen, and there wasn't actually a lot of strategy involved. A lot of it was just luck-based. And I would say that a lot of that was taken out of this season. I think Mr. Beast heard the criticism, but also just because in the first season he went for biggest show, biggest prize, biggest yada yada yada. And a lot of people thought that he was like award chasing instead of actually trying to put something of quality. And so now that he got all those awards and people told him, like, improve your quality, he was able to do that. Maybe he would have done it regardless, but just kind of a coincidence that now he's doing it. Anyways, I thought that the production was better and the challenges felt more real. Since the theme was smart versus strong, a lot of the challenges catered to what was intelligent and what was like a strength challenge. And so that was really cool to see that all of the contestants were tested in both ways. It wasn't just one or the other, or at least once they got into the top 50, it was like that. And then because of the smaller cast, I felt that the storytelling was a little bit better. And then so was the challenge pacing, just because it didn't have to go super quick and rapid fire all these different challenges to eliminate people, because there wasn't a whole lot of people to eliminate. And so I believe for like the last 3 or 4 episodes, we had 13 people on them. And that's kind of crazy to think, because in the first season, like, I still think we had over 100 people left by the time we got to episode 6. And so just having the same cast be recurring, it made it harder to say goodbye to some of them, but it also made it sweet when the people that you were not hoping for to win ended up getting kicked off. So that brings me to what I didn't really like about the season so far. And I thought it was kind of like a flip-flop, because I thought the things that Beast Games Season 1 did horrible, they ended up doing better the second time around. And what Beast Games did good the first time around, they ended up doing worse the second time around. And the first thing about that was just the cliffhangers and the engagement bait and all that. Because I'm not a huge fan of it. I really liked in Season 1 how whenever they did the challenge, it ended like at the end of the episode. And so once we got to the next one, it'd be like whole new thing. Maybe they're still playing clips of like what happened at the end to just jog your memory, get you in the moment. But in this one, I felt like they really dragged out those eliminations at the end of the episodes, and it just kind of sucked, because even for me, I watched all of it, I want to say up to episode 9, and then I only had to wait a whole week for episode 10. Everything else I saw like pretty consistently whenever I wanted to. But if I had been watching the show throughout the weeks, I just would have gotten pissed, because I don't want to be on a cliffhanger waiting a whole week to watch like 6 minutes before they show like who actually got eliminated, because they're playing all these extra footage. Like, I just thought it was garbage, and I didn't think it was productive. I didn't think it was effective to the storytelling. I just thought that it dragged it out a little bit longer than what it should have been. And then I also didn't like the fact that they brought back some of the older challenges. And it's not even the fact that they brought them back in like a nostalgic way. I felt like they just brought them back because they wanted to add that like tension. But I wasn't a fan of it. And I think the biggest reason for that is just because Beast Games is more about the social strategy in it. Like, I don't think it really tests your skills per se as to like how strong or how smart you are, because a lot of it ended up being teamwork and the connections that you ended up building along the way. And so for them to be put into like a lot of social situations where it's like, would you eliminate yourself for other people to go up? Or what would you do in this situation? Like, who are you choosing to get out? Like, I didn't appreciate that. If for somebody who tried to advertise it as strong versus smart, you didn't have a lot of strong versus smart challenges in the end. It was just a lot of social challenges and who can network the best. And so that didn't sit well with me, especially not for the last episode, because in it, a lot of it depended on luck versus actual strategy. And the reason why I say that is because, big spoiler for the last episode, they get the top 6 and then they play kickball, they kick a ball into their hearts to see who goes home. But it's all dependent on like how many people decide to target you, if they hit it or if they don't hit it, and then like who you target after that and like what people think about you. I wish that it was more about doing a challenge and then the loser of it or whoever performed the worst ends up getting kicked off, instead of, hey, all 6 of you get a ball, you kick 2 people's hearts and they're out. And you don't really have control over who wants to target you. And that's what ended up happening in it, is that a lot of people ganged up on one person because they didn't want to be the odd man out. And it just kind of sucked, especially for the losers. They didn't really enjoy, because they're like, this is the worst way to go. It's kind of out of your control. And I didn't appreciate that. And then even in the top 4, they did another challenge where it was like a memory thing. And if you won, guess what? You got to choose who goes home, instead of if you win, you're safe, and now the other 2 have to win, and the last person to win is out. And I just hated that. And it really sucked, because I thought that at the beginning of the season we were going to see a little bit of a difference in it. But towards the end, it just kind of reverted back to the old ways of self-eliminating or choose who goes home, instead of, hey, the worst one is actually the one who's going to go home. So now it's time to talk about what the worst episode of season 2 was, and I thought it was the buried alive one. And I feel like that's a no-brainer. In the whole episode, literally nothing was accomplished. We saw the ending to the challenge of the previous episode 5 minutes into that episode, and we ended up sending Katie home. Bye, Katie. She went home as number 11. Just, again, really dragged out. I hated it. Stupid. But then after that, they all said hi to their families, which was cool. They all had a feast with their families, which was cool. And then they ended up walking to a graveyard and all getting buried alive. And then they chose Nick as a captain, and that was it. That was the whole episode, and nothing happened. And I was like what? This is just stupid filler. And we're not like in an anime that's got thousands of episodes. We're in a fucking reality show, and this is all you can show. I honestly think that was way worse than the season 1's worst episode, which was the cube experiment. I think that's what it's called. The solitary experiment, sorry. And in that one is when they first did the box game. That episode in season 1 really sucked. Just because, again, it was another self-elimination one. And people were just playing like a lot of mental games and just trying to trick other people. And it just, I don't know, it wasn't really that entertaining because the whole time you were just upset that people were being deceitful and trying to just get someone out. So that was stupid. But now let's talk about the 2 best episodes of the show. And the one in season 1 was obviously the last episode. I thought that one was the most well done, well put together. Again, at the beginning of that episode, I remember they had to play a game where they had to throw balls into somebody's thing, and that's how you got them out. Again, not a fan of other people eliminating you. It should be your performance and like how you do. But still, just that coin flip with I can't remember what was his name, but the guy who did the coin flip and then getting it to 10 million, that was cool. And then Jeff at the very end, just, first try, he gets the check. That was awesome. Versus the best episode of season 2, which I honestly think was the $1 million and choose how much of it you want to go home with. And personally, the reason why I felt like that one was the best is because it had the most emotion. Like, Nick was the captain and everybody trusted him to get 100 grand. And then, of course, he gets in there, it takes 250K. And right after that, like, everybody was like pissed. Everybody was super annoyed. And they're like, dude, you literally clammed for the whole time you were here saying that if you got offered the $1 million to split with 10 people, you're taking your 100 grand. And as soon as you got put in front of it, you took 250K. Like, what the fuck, dude? I can't be completely hateful of Nick just because of the fact that he made a point where it's like, he was offered $1 million like 4 different times in the show or something like that. And he turned him down every single time. You can only do that so much to somebody before they end up taking more than their fair share, So again, I can't blame him, but it was like, come on, Nick, like, these guys trusted you. And then after that, like, how everybody responded to it, how much they ended up taking, like, it was the most raw, emotional episode, and they didn't have to eliminate anybody either. And so that one was really enjoyable just for that matter. So before I go over the winner and what I thought about the last game, I just want to give a huge shout out to JC, Akira, and Jeff. They were all people from season 1 who ended up coming back in season 2. And I think JC did a good job of trying to like rewrite his character a little bit, because at the end of season 1, he was seen as like a villain for taking $650,000 of that million or whatever. And I think he tried to right his wrongs a little bit, and in it he proved to be a little bit selfless. He eliminated himself in the box game and gave his $10 million coin to Monica. And so he did that to help her out. He didn't have to do it. He could have taken it with him. And so that was really nice of him to do that. And I also think moving forward, people are going to look at the game a little bit differently, seeing now how somebody else took like $1 million to eliminate their team in it, and just seeing how it's all about the money game. Like, I think season 3 will just be completely different than how season 1 and season 2 were. But then I want to give a shout out to Akira, because he came back and he competed. In season 1, he was the one who took out the most people in the train episode. And then as soon as he comes back, he's playing dodgeball and he's eliminating people. Like, he doesn't care about no alliances. He was just all about the emotion. And so shout out to him. And then, of course, Jeff coming back was amazing, just because he ended up talking to Katie and Hannah in the boxes. And the whole time he spent telling them all the tips and tricks that he used in order to win season 1, in order for them to hopefully win season 2. And so he just wanted to give back. And when push came to shove, he ended up self-eliminating so other people could compete. And that was really cool of him. So then here we go. The top 2 of Beast Game Season 2 ended up being Corey and Tyler. And I thought, wow, like, what a better duo to like choose than that. Just because both of them are family men, and the whole time they played the most fair, most integrity-based game of everybody there. And so that felt really rewarding to see, because I mean, they deserved it. They were both like older guys and they have families that they were trying to win this for, to retire and then, hopefully provide for them. And it really sucked, because I wish that both of them could end up getting a little bit of a little piece of the pie. But the third place guy ended up being Brett, and he took home $1 million by self-eliminating to get the $1 million. And then the last two ended up playing. Personally, for me, if I had won it, I would feel like I would split that prize, because $5 million is a lot, but so is $4 million. And like, I was really hoping that I could see it, because I remember when I watched season 1, I was like, damn, Jeff, like, do you really need the 10? Like, couldn't you just take like 8 or 9 and give to Wanda like the other 1 or 2? And same thing here, when I was watching it, I was like, damn, Tyler, who ended up winning it all, ended up getting $5 million, and he had 100,000 from the previous challenge, and Corey ended up going home with only 17,000. And I was thinking in my head, like, couldn't you at least give him the 100K that you like earned in the previous challenge? But really deep down, I was like, dude, just give him $1 million. You know, 4 million still plenty to go, retire, enjoy life, and spend time with your family. You don't need all of that. And so in my head, I was just a little bit heartbroken. I was like, dude, come on. But I get it. It's his money. He earned it, and he can do whatever he wants with it. I just wish that there was a little bit more compassion with it. But hey, no hate to Tyler. I mean, he played a great game, and especially that ending, how they ended up going like 6 or 7. They ended up going 6, 7 rounds in the finale to determine who ends up winning that $5 million check. And so, phenomenal storytelling there. Overall, I did think that season 2 was better than season 1. It still has its quirks and the things that I hope that it could correct for season 3, which Mr. Beast teased at the end of season 2. But going forward, I think this is a great start for how the show could end up being. Again, I understand that Beast Games isn't really more about the challenges, it's more about the social skills. And I really hope that moving forward, we do see it be less luck-based and more challenge-based. Just because I think the jump from luck to challenge in season 1 to season 2 was incredible. And if they make that same jump from season 2 to season 3, I really do think that this could be a really great show. Shout out to everybody who ended up competing and putting on like a great performance. I know it's not easy getting eliminated from those games, but at the end of the day, you ended up going there and you took a chance on yourself, and you came in with nothing, and some of them left with a little bit more than nothing, but still not that grand prize. But there's always time to build a brand from yourself, or look at what experiences you may have had that you could not have ever had before that. And so, huge shout out to all the contestants. And I also really enjoyed from the community, there wasn't as much hate directed at the people who chose themselves and chose their family as much as there was hate towards JC in season 1. And so that was a huge W from the community. Great show, great season, and thank you all for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did, and have a great day.